All right, welcome. Thank you guys for joining us for tonight's training. As is our custom, we will wait about 30 seconds for those who want to tune in live, and then we will get the ball rolling. I have my eye on my watch. Got about 15, 20 seconds left, and then we will get started. All right, let's get the ball rolling. Thank you and welcome to tonight's training. My name is Brenton Harrison of Escape Student Loan Debt. We are an online education company with trainings for student loan borrowers, whether federal or private, whose payment or balances have become a major barrier in one aspect of their life. It could be their marriage, it could be their credit, it could be their dreams of home ownership or business ownership. Whatever it is that they're dealing with, we offer trainings to meet that problem. Tonight I want to tell you a story about a student of ours named Kara. And Kara had a pretty unique situation in that she came to us, and when she came to us, her student loan balance was kind of irrelevant. The thing that was relevant when she came to us was the fact that she didn't feel she should still have student loans at all. And it was something that unfortunately she had just found out about. Let me explain. Kara lives in Nashville, which is where I'm based. And when she came to us, she let us know a little bit about her backstory. She had started working in nonprofits, and nonprofits that really catered to those with mental health problems as a result of some family experiences that she had had in her own childhood that kind of set her on the path to just saying, this is the population with which I want to work. So she started working with nonprofits right out of school, and when she was working with those nonprofits, wasn't getting paid a ton. Kara is not really a person who thinks that money is the end-all be-all, very admirable trait. So she really was just in it for the love of what she was doing, the love of the population that she served. Now, the thing is, with most things in this life and in this economy, the more passionate you are about something, the more excellence with which you work, you start to eventually get recognized for those types of things. So Kara was really good at her job, really passionate about her job, and really adept at navigating some of the challenges that come with nonprofit work. So every couple of years, she started getting, commendations, and then she would get a small promotion here, a small promotion there, and just started slowly rising up the chain, and then even switching nonprofits a couple times. And every single time that she did this, she started getting paid a little more. And getting paid a little more, and after a number of years, she started getting promotions that were bigger promotions and bigger pay raises, to the point that she started asking or getting asked to be an executive director or an assistant executive director at some major nonprofits. And she reached the point where she started making over 6 figures of consistent income. Now, if you're in nonprofits for the love of what you're doing, this is not necessarily your expectation, and it certainly wasn't Kara's. The amount of money that she was getting paid was a surprise to her. Now, through all this process, one of the things that was constant, besides the fact that her pay wasn't necessarily market rate compared to other industries, was that Kara was dealing with federal student loans. She had federal student loans, and again, I don't even know what her balance was when she started, and really, Kara probably didn't either. She just paid them and paid them and paid them. And unlike many of our students, her student loan payment was never really like that big of a deal to her. It wasn't too crazy. It just was what it was. It was a part of her life, and she paid it and went on about her business. Now, she is not the type of person to read the rules related to federal student loans or private student loans to know what she had access to or didn't have access to. And she had heard about this program called Public Service Loan Forgiveness, but she was under the assumption that the public part meant you had to work for the government. You had to work for a state government or a legislature or a federal government in order to be considered a public servant. She was not aware that nonprofits qualified, certain nonprofits, to be eligible for employment and have their loans forgiven after 10 years under this forgiveness program. She didn't find out that she was eligible until she was having a conversation with a friend, and her friend was asking about how things were going, and Kara just kind of passively mentioned, my student loan payment, blah, 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 blah. And her friend said, why are you still paying on student loans? You've been working at your job in this industry for more than 10 years. You should have had them forgiven by now. And a light bulb went off on Kara's head that she needed to go research more about this program. And when she researched more, she realized, oh my goodness, every single job that I've worked for the past 12 years qualifies for public service loan forgiveness. And under that program, I only have to pay towards my loans for 10 years before they're forgiven. Now, at this point, Kara had about $50,000 of student loans left, and she realized, oh my goodness, I'm paying on these loans every single month, and I could have had these wiped away in full 2 years ago. So she went on the path of figuring out what she needed to do to make up for lost time. She called her loan servicer, and her loan servicer said, hey, we'll look into it. She called the Federal Student Aid's website in terms of their customer service number. They said, we'll look into it. And after both entities got back to her, they both had the same answer. You have the right employer, you have the right type of loan, but you have the wrong repayment plan for the public service loan forgiveness. And because of that, none of the payments that you've made over the last 12 years count towards your forgiveness credits at all. You are at 0 credits in the eyes of public service loan forgiveness. Now, that made no sense to her. It's a public service loan forgiveness program. She's a public servant. She has the right loan. She has the right job, but they're telling her that all because of one repayment program, one that she signed up for without thinking 12 years ago, she had 0 credits towards this program, and she thought that she was calling to just have these student loans wiped away. She went from person to person. Can I talk to a manager? Can I talk to another customer service rep? And they all told her the same thing. And after going back to the friend that even just tickled her in terms of like putting the idea in her mind, the friend told her, why don't you reach out to Brenton at Escape Student Loan Debt to see if he can help? And that's where we found her. So what do? Well, actually, we helped her, and now, since that time has passed, there are more ways that we could have helped her that have popped up over the past few months. But here's what we did for Kara. The first is the student loan servicer was correct. Under public service loan forgiveness, there are 3 requirements. You have to have the right type of loan, you have to have the right type of job, and you have to have the right type of repayment program. And under public service loan forgiveness, there really was nothing that they could do to make any of those credits eligible. It just didn't count. What they didn't tell her was that there's another type of forgiveness program called the Temporary Expanded Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. This is a program that Congress enacted and gave a limited amount of funds to, where for people who met 2 of the 3 requirements but did not meet the requirement for the repayment plan could still apply to have these payments counted towards their forgiveness and be recipients of that forgiveness if they went through the right steps. So we told her about those steps. We told her, hey, here are the applications you need to fill out. Here are the calls that you need to make. We ended up having to consolidate some of her loans before we did that. We ended up having to transfer from one loan servicer to the next. It was a multi-layered process, but once that process was completed, Kara was eligible to have her loans forgiven under the Temporary Expanded Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. Now, I talked about something else that has popped up since this time, because this happened a couple years ago. Since that time, there has been another program that's introduced, or an attachment to the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, and it's called the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Waiver. And this is, again, a limited opportunity that expires at a particular point in time, where if you have any payments that you've made, whether they're late or incomplete, if you have any types of loans, and if you just make sure you have the right employer, you're eligible to have all of it counted towards public service loan forgiveness. That means that of the 3 requirements that you typically have, until this point in time, you only have to meet 1. You have to work for an eligible nonprofit or an eligible government entity. Just like temporary expanded public service loan forgiveness, there are a number of steps that you have to take to make sure your loans are considered. But this is now 2 options for people who are denied by public service loan forgiveness to have their application reconsidered. And had Kara talked to us this year, it would have been yet another opportunity, yet another tool in our toolbox that we could have used to have her student loans wiped away in full. Thankfully, we still had the first tool, and we did get her student loans wiped away in full. But as we talked talked about with any of our videos, with student loans, whether they be federal or public, the first thing is knowing what's available to you. The second thing is knowing how to use those tools and deploy them so that they're giving you the maximum benefit for your federal or private student loans. And when you do that, you will realize that it's going to have an impact not on just your loans, but on your budget, on your ability to invest, on your credit, and even in some cases in your relationships and the passion that you have for your job. Because I guarantee you, once Kara had those loans forgiven, even though she loved her job before, she loved it a whole lot more knowing that she just had $50,000 wiped away and she could do the work for the enjoyment of it and not base it off any particular income she needed to receive. I hope this story was meaningful to you and beneficial for you if you find yourself in a similar situation, and if you are an established professional, but your federal or private student loan balance has become a major barrier in one area of your life, your credit, your dreams for homeownership, your relationships, whatever it is, I invite you to check the link at the end of this video and at the bottom of this video so we can get started on a solution for you. I'll see you soon.